All right, traders, George here in time for the week in review. Three key events have happened in the markets this week, and we talked about them all in advance. Let's see where things stand at the end of the week here. We'll start out with oil. We're at 49.70 here, Friday afternoon. The important takeaway for oil this week is that it was not able to hold its breakout of this heavily traded balance beam here. It attempted to and actually got a fair bit out of the gate there, trading over 52, but just couldn't hold it, broke below, put in a resistance swing, drove all the way to the bottom. Note where the support tail comes in there, right at the floor of this balance beam. The bulls had a great opportunity here and just not able to do it. Now well into the 49s. Next week, we'll be looking to see again if these ranges can be controlled by either the bulls or the bears. As we talked about in the room this morning and really all week long, this nice corrective impulse here has never seen new structure highs, and its initial low here has not been breached either. But for corrective impulses, the time qualification for a continuation is getting a bit stale. So this is putting a lot of pressure on the oil bulls here. If we start trading and closing below 48.65s, that's going to open up the door to return to some lower prices that we've seen. So that is the big takeaway for oil. Let's move over to gold. Haven't done a video on gold for a little bit, but the last key trade setup I showed you guys was respecting essentially the round number of 1200 here for gold. 1204 is a very resonant price point on the balance beam, and trade opportunities exist long north of that area, obviously on a higher time frame here. But bigger picture, getting below 1195s really opens up the door to see lower prices, and that was actually triggered today, and we saw a very quick move down. Note where the target one is here, gang. 1170 from 1193s. A lot of people think that's a big travel distance for a target, but not when you look left. On this particular chart here, we had structure support, and that's exactly where we came to, and we actually broke a little bit below that to really push into this spike right here. So respecting that spike off to the left and this structure swing here for that first target, well hit, and prices now in the 1165s. Being long gold is aggressive. That's still being played out here. This puts enormous pressure on the gold bulls to do something about this ASAP. The next real target we have here is 1130, and perhaps over the weekend I'll do something more to revisit the bigger picture targets below. This is a really bearish turn here for gold after this nice push up, which we talked about. Some writing on the wall with 1282 being breached, and again 1243 not holding, and then down it goes. So gold weak, oil weak, and now let's zip over to the S&P. In training this morning we talked about, and throughout the week we talked about, the round number of 2100. We've already hit 2067 and 2079, which were targets over 2055. And since passing this second target, we put in a little resistance swing, pulled back, and converted 2082 quarter as a support swing low, and then went on to new structure highs here, dancing around the round number of 2100. More trading commitment being built there. So for some chop around these areas, took a little bit to get going here, but the second trip below 2090, we talked about the first one here going into the 86s and then getting over 90 for a long signal in the room. Here we have the confirmation of the bears taking it back below 2090, and you can see how we accelerated. Look left through that air pocket. Look where we stalled out, right to the first target there, 2067s. Here we are bouncing 3 points off of that level as we end the Friday afternoon session here. So essentially going back through that air pocket and finding the support bounce at the most heavily traded first zone on the way down. So this rollover has started to accelerate here. We found support at a key balance beam, and going into next week we'll see if the 2067s hold as support. If they do, then we're going to be going back against these target zones really to look at 2082, and then 2090 is the first two key ones on the way up. If we start trading below 67s, 55 was the ceiling we used for a breakout. That's going to be the next target zone below. And just like we saw the pop over 2090 here, if for some reason the bulls can race this thing up, if we take out the high of this power candle right here, very good chance we're going to go back up to 2103s at a minimum. These upside targets here still in play until this swing low is taken out. That's going to compromise them quite a bit. We get below 55s. We've got a 15-point cushion there before we get to the floor of this dominator here. A ton of trading commitment at this level. If that is breached, that would be a red flag. Right now we're just seeing a little bit of a rollover here after a good move up. We'd expect this area to act as support on a pullback. If it is breached and turns into resistance, that would be a red flag number one there for the market. So really all of these key price points dictating how price behaved very well this week. A fantastic week in the room. Great session training this morning. Thank you for all your comments. That'll do it for now, gang. We'll see you back in the room next week.